Hey everyone, my name's Carlos, and I wanted to make this video just to do a review on the new drone that I purchased. There aren't a lot of reviews on this particular drone, which is the EXO Blackhawk. So I wanted to do a review on it. There's a couple of reviews out there, and this is just another one of those things. I wanted to just give my honest opinion and experience. I am not a YouTube reviewer by far. I'm just a drone enthusiast. I own 3 drones right now, soon to be 4, and wanted to talk about my experience with the Blackhawk. I own originally a Ranger from EXO. The drone has been phenomenal for me. Great drone. I know there's a lot of different opinions about this particular drone, about EXO, about all drone companies. So I will probably go ahead and even turn comments off to this video because I'm not interested in really getting into a discussion about who agrees or disagrees. Just wanted to really provide my honest experience and also talk about some other things, some other tips and tricks that I found when using this drone in particular, but really that apply to other drones. So here to just share information. So the EXO Blackhawk, here it is, comes in this box, and one of the things that I do want to talk about is the difference when you buy from EXO. Having bought multiple drones from them, as I said, I own a Ranger. I now own a Blackhawk. I just ordered a Cinemaster 2, so I'm really excited to receive that. It's probably going to take a little bit because Black Friday is crazy, or post Black Friday is crazy, so it'll take a while to get here, but I'm patient. But I really trust in EXO just because of the experiences that I've had. I've had some issues with my Ranger that they've always been able to resolve. Matter of fact, when I first got this Blackhawk, day one, I got the 2 battery version. I will say one of my batteries would not charge all the way. The batteries on this drone, which I'll show in a second, they have indicator lights on the back, as most of them do. It wouldn't charge past 3 lights. Battery was a little warmer than the other one. I got the 2 battery version, and I went on to EXO's chat, and took me about 5 minutes. They shipped me a new battery. So very, very good support I've always gotten from them. I can't say enough about that team. I know there's, again, a lot of mixed opinions out there. I'm on their Facebook group, and I'm always trying to contribute and help people positively and point them in the right direction. This is a company that's fairly new and growing. The guys have always been great that I've talked to. I'm not sure if that's been everybody's experience, but mine has been great. So anyway, again, comes in this box. I'll kind of do this quickly. What you get with the 2 battery version is you do get a cool little bag. Very, it says EXO on it. Lunchbox style bag, like most of a lot of drones come in. I actually decked it out with some of the stickers that EXO gave me, so go EXO, thank you. So that all came with it. Of course, you get your controller. Now, one of the things I'll talk about in this video is, make no mistake about it, this is a Hubsan drone, and it's been rebranded by EXO and is being sold by EXO. You'll notice the controller says Blackhawk, but it also has the Hubsan logo on there. Now, there's a guy on YouTube. His name's Chris. He's known as the QC guy. I trust his content and his opinion for anything drone related, and he is pretty much a wizard when it comes to Hubsan drones. I'm a huge fan of Hubsan drones. I also own a Xeno 2 Plus, and that drone has been phenomenal for me, but I really just wanted the Blackhawk. I like the appearance of the drone. There is a Hubsan version of this drone that you can buy, and it's pretty much identical. I'll show you what the differences are, but I really wanted to focus on what do you get when you buy it from EXO. Yes, you can go on Amazon right now and buy the Hubsan version of the Blackhawk, but there are some differences, and I want to talk about those. So again, you get your controller. It's pretty nice. Got your extendable antennas. Your phone goes in here, and then it's spring loaded. Accommodates a pretty big phone. And then you got your standard, you got camera and video button here. You got your joysticks, and then your speed for normal and sport mode. Your auto return to home, take off and land button, which does work for both take off, and you can land with this button as well. I'll talk about that a little bit more because I got a tip on that. And then obviously your power button. So pretty decent controller. Feels pretty good. It's plastic. It's not rubberized like some of the other controllers. I also own a Mavic Mini, DJI Mavic Mini, and it's a little bit more rubberized. So, but all in all, really feels decent. It doesn't feel really like a cheap toy. Okay, of course you get your charging cable for your controller, micro USB, charging ports right there. Let me fold this up here. In the box you get 2 sets of spare propellers, screwdriver to change it. These spare propellers come with special glue or Loctite screw glue so that you put them on there. So there's, obviously enough screws in here for both sets of propellers. You also get your battery setup. Now I got the 2 battery setup, which comes with your battery charger, and then their setup is pretty cool. Here's your battery charger, and then you get these adapters. The charger plugs into the in port on the battery adapter, and then you get, if you got the 2 battery version, for example, you get a cord that plugs into here on the out port, and you get another charger adapter. So then you hook your batteries up pretty much. Here's the battery, by the way, excuse me. Got a nice clip. I'll talk about that clip. And you hook your batteries up to this, and essentially what you're doing is daisy chaining your battery setup to charge. Now, one of the things that I did notice is this particular setup. I'm not sure if the Hubsan version does this. I would assume that it does because it's the same drone, but this one does charge both batteries at the same time. I've actually done it. I've actually tried to do it, and I've observed it, and it does charge both batteries at the same time. In addition to that, there is a USB port on this adapter, and what's cool about this adapter and the USB port is that you can then connect your micro USB cable into your USB port and charge your controller at the same time. I'm not sure if everyone will agree on that. Some people will say no, they don't charge in series. I will tell you, on my Hubsan Xeno Pro Plus, or excuse me, Xeno 2 Plus, this drone here, my batteries are hooked up exactly like that in series, but the batteries charge one at a time. So you'll get the LEDs charging on one battery. When that battery is fully charged, it'll switch to the next battery in series. So I have not, that's one difference that I see here with this particular drone. Again, I don't know if it's if the Hubsan version does the same thing, but these batteries do charge at the same time as does the controller. I charged both of these batteries and my controller at the same time last night. Everything looked like it was actually charging, unlike the setup that I have on my Xeno 2 Plus, where you can hook everything up in series, including the controller. However, it will charge one at a time. So that's kind of cool. And then, of course, let me just disconnect this here. And again, I apologize, guys. I'm not a YouTube reviewer, so this is actually my very first review video, if you will. I'm in my bedroom because my wife works from home and she's downstairs. So this is the actual drone. I am going to go ahead and I'll unfold it for us here. And what I like about this drone, and here is the, let me just do this real quick. Here's the battery, and how it goes in. So you insert it and it kind of just clips in. There's this retaining clip here, and that's how it kind of stays in there. I kind of like this setup. Some people don't. It's got this, again, this clip, which is kind of cool to make sure that it's in there. There's some other setups out there. I don't mind this one. I kind of like it. You just have to make sure that it's clipped on there. It actually just goes over that little lip on the drone, and it clips in place. Kind of makes me feel like that battery's secure and won't fall out. Outside of that, it's pretty cool. Now, differences between this and the Hubsan drone, which I believe the model is the Xeno Pro Plus. Listen, you can go out there and you can buy a Xeno Pro Plus right now on Amazon. They're still available. Your prerogative if you want to do that. Probably available for a little bit cheaper, and that's fine. I chose to pay more money for this drone, and I'll tell you why. There are some differences. If you go out to the YouTube world and you search QC Guy's video on this particular drone, the Blackhawk, he's going to illustrate some differences in there, and one of the differences are apparently they have better motor hubs. These motor hubs here, they're a little different. I'll let you guys look at his video, but one thing to note is you got to use EXO propellers for this drone. You cannot use Hubsan propellers if you buy new propellers, because they will not fit. They've done something different to this motor hub, and these propellers are specific to this particular drone, to EXO. Again, there's a couple other differences. I won't get into that. This is just to share my experience. I like this drone better than the Hubsan because, number one, I don't mind the gold. The gold is actually pretty cool. I like the etching that they have here. I like that they've etched Blackhawk in here. It's a little hard to see. Oh, it's upside down. They've etched Blackhawk in here, really nice. I like the look and feel of this drone. This is the gimbal, which I'll take the cover off in a minute. The bottom of the drone, again, I like the gold. I like that they've lined it in gold here. I thought this was a sticker. I looked at QC Guy's video, come to find out this is actually not a sticker. It's painted. So the legs, I believe, are different on this drone than on the Hubsan version. Little more improvement there, I suppose. And then you have your gimbal, which I'll take this cover off. And one thing that I will say that I would have liked is I would have liked them to, it's got a 3-axis gimbal, pretty good. I would have liked this particular gimbal to be a little bit more sturdy. You'll notice as I'm shaking up the drone, it's a little loose, so you do have to be careful. Okay, a lot of drones are like that. This is not a flaw. You just have to be careful. You have to be careful putting this cover on, taking this cover off, and then when you're actually holding the drone, just be careful. Don't mistreat it. My other drone, or one of my other drones, has a 3-axis gimbal as well. It's a little bit more sturdier. Just the architecture is a little different. But all in all, when you turn this drone on, even though this is loose, when you turn this drone on, it goes through its, turn it on real quick, it goes through its calibration of the gimbal, and as you can see, it does actually become a bit more sturdy when you do that. So when the drone is off, just keep in mind the gimbal is kind of flimsy. So be careful, like anything, just treat it with care, if you will. On one side, it's pretty plain. Okay. Other side, you have your micro SD card slot and a USB slot. One thing that I did like about this drone as well is that I did not have to update the software on it. Apparently, before it leaves the factory, EXO updates it to the correct firmware. There is no firmware update available for it. You can actually update the controller firmware from the app. However, it already came updated, which was really cool as well. So you can check for updates. There's nothing available right now, and I just got this about a week ago. So overall, drone is great. I can tell you guys about my flying experience and give you guys some tips overall, which is really why I wanted to do this video. So I'll fold this guy up a little bit and talk about that. So first off, why buy from EXO? I buy from EXO because of the experience, guys. You know, you buy a Hubsan drone, which you can do, same drone, and you're gonna get the Hubsan experience. Hubsan's not a bad company, but they don't have an online resource like EXO does that's available to you pretty much 24/7, and that will respond. At least that's been my experience. Again, I know there's horror stories out there. I know people feel differently, and that's fine. That has not been my experience. Anytime I've ever reached out to these guys for anything EXO related, it's been great. They're fast, they're responsive, and I actually have enjoyed talking to that team. I've had battery issues before. I had an issue with a calibration issue with my Ranger. Again, I've reached out to him a number of times and it's been great. Another thing that I will share is I actually reached out and had a post on Facebook about this Blackhawk drone, because this Blackhawk drone previously, there was some specs that were incorrect on the EXO site, and I was fair in my comment. As it was after I bought it, I wasn't happy with it. I posted about it, and one of the EXO guys reached out to me directly right on Facebook, thanked me for pointing it out, and he got it fixed. The website, just like he said, within 72 hours, they actually did it in less than 2 days, was fixed. They posted the correct specs. It had to do with the camera sensor and the megapixels, and there was some miscommunication on the EXO site about a drone that was going to be released in the future. But true to their word, Chris, I spoke to Chris, and I'll protect his identity. I won't say his last name on this video, but I spoke to Chris, and he was very responsive, took care of it, thanked me, and took care of me as a customer. And that's what's important to me. Again, what do you get with EXO? You get the support and the experience, and that's, to me, is the difference. Yes, I paid more for this drone. I could have got a cheaper version of it, but I am the person that pays for convenience, and I will do that every time. So yes, it cost me a little bit more, but I got peace of mind that I can reach out to these guys, and I get support from them. I've never had to contact Hubsan, I will say, to be fair, but I know plenty of people that have, and it's not great. There's a lot of horror stories out there as well. Fortunately for me, with my one Hubsan drone that I own, it's been great, and I also chose to buy this because I know it was a rebranded Hubsan, so I'm getting the quality that I think Hubsan provides. Now, I will share with you guys that there's a lot of opinions out there about drones. I own a DJI, for example. I own a Mini. Been a great drone, love it. It's small, it's little, but for what I paid for my DJI, to have none of the features that I really wanted, not obstacle avoidance, sorry. None of my drones have obstacle avoidance. I consider myself an experienced drone flyer, and once you get to where you're a little bit more experienced, it doesn't really matter to you as far as obstacle avoidance, in my opinion. So I don't care about that. That's not a deal breaker for me. So none of my drones have obstacle avoidance, but I do like Follow Me, I do like Orbit, I do like some of the active tracking and intelligent flight modes that a lot of the modern drones have, and my DJI Mini does not. So having bought the DJI Mini, I like it. It's not bad. The other thing I don't like about DJI is the controlled flights. You can't fly it wherever you want. I'm not one to fly in an unauthorized zone anyway, but if and when I'm near an airport and I can't take off and I really want to get that nice footage, crispy footage of something, I want to know that I can. So will I get rid of my Mini? Absolutely not. I like it. It's a great drone, but really I'm I guess I'd say a value drone buyer. I don't have the $2,100 for the Mavic 3 or the $1,000 for the Mavic 2, which is what you pay for a DJI, and they make a great product, but in the budget drone world, that's where I stay, and I think I get great quality and great bang for my buck. Okay, back to the Blackhawk. A couple things I want to talk about. Number one is a common misconception with drones, guys. Listen, you got to learn your calibrations, okay? Now, on my Ranger, doesn't have as many calibrations as this drone. This drone is a little bit different setup, and I'll explain. This drone connects via Synclius to your device, to your wireless device, your mobile phone, right? You hook it up to the remote, you get a cable with it. The cable connects to your phone, and I don't even know where my cable is right now. I apologize. Well, I have an aftermarket one, so you get a cable like this, hooks to your controller, hooks to your phone. Some of the drones, the other drones out there from EXO and other manufacturers, like my Ranger, and also the Cinemaster 2 that I just ordered, they are a wireless setup. But all drones have compass calibration that are needed. Okay, in this particular case, since I'm talking about the Blackhawk, you have your compass calibration your horizontal calibration, and you have your IMU calibration, and then you also have your gimbal calibration. When you get this drone out of your box, you need to do all the calibrations, guys. That's my advice to you. You hook it up, everything's gonna say, it might say everything's fine, it might say everything's normal. Do your calibrations, do them anyway. Very easy to do. The app walks you step by step how to do it. I highly recommend that you go to an open field, open area, away from metal, and I'll talk about that in a little bit as well, and do your calibrations. The thing with calibrations, slow and steady, guys. Slow and steady. Not jerky, not moving around, and also not near any metal. I made the mistake once of calibrating a drone while it was sitting on a metal picnic table at a park, and I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't calibrate. Then it dawned on me, well, it's sitting on a metal table. I also have a video that I posted on Facebook recently, and I actually had this drone in my kitchen, and I had it on, and I was illustrating how on my app, as I would move closer to my stove, which is made of metal, of course, I would get a message on the app saying, abnormal compass reading, please move the drone or please calibrate your compass. That is because I'm near metal. So when you complete your calibrations, do it out in the open where you're going to fly. Generally, when you're going to be more than 6 miles, in my opinion, from the last place you flew, you should do a compass calibration at minimum. When you get your Blackhawk, if you order one, definitely do a compass, a horizontal, and an IMU. All 3 of them. Peace of mind, just get it done. One thing that I would recommend on the IMU calibration, and this is a tip that I got from Chris the QC guy, is do it with the legs open. There's metal in these motors, and when you're doing a compass calibration or all these types of calibrations, you want to stay away from metal. So I actually do mine with the drone open, and it's worked out successfully for me. My initial flight and the couple flights that I've had with this thing so far have all been great. Really, really, really stable. This one does tend to pop up and then sink a little bit. That's a known thing with Hubsan drones, in my opinion. My other one does it as well, but then it comes back up, and it's just very, very, very stable in the air. Another piece of advice that I'll give you guys is, slow down your flight controls. The app on this drone, on the Blackhawk, has the ability to, when there's normal mode and there's sport mode. In normal mode, you can slow down your flight controls. So there's your horizontal flight, your vertical flight, and you can slow those down with a slider. I've got my vertical flight set to about 75%, 80%, and I've got my horizontal, which is forward and backwards and sideways, set to also about 75% in normal mode. When you're in sport mode, you're going to go full blown anyway. It's going to do it. But the reason why I say slow down your flight controls is because as you're flying your drone, if you're a newer drone owner, you hit your sticks, it's going to jerk. It's going to jerk back and forth. And you want to learn to be able to move your drone very, very smoothly. And by slowing down your flight controls, it'll help you do that. Okay? The other thing is, sometimes you get your drone and it'll start toilet bowling or fish bowling in the air. And sometimes that does occur. I get it. It happens on a lot of drones. My DJI, it's happened to that as well. It's happened to my Hubsan. It's happened to my Ranger. When I have that happen, guys, I land the drone. I do a quick compass calibration, pop it back up, and it usually solves the issue. But another thing that I've noticed is if you're jerky with your flight control movements, that is going to tend to make the drone do this. It's going to confuse, again, my opinion, I think it confuses the internal compass, and you start to get that. There's never been a time where I have had that issue going on where I have not been able to resolve it by landing, doing a compass calibration, popping it back up, and then just controlling my flight a little better. Again, my experience, my opinion, you guys may disagree, but I've never had a situation where I've not been able to get that under control. The other thing that I'll say about this particular drone is it does not have any sensors on the bottom, okay, at all. So there's no optical flow, no infrared, no nothing. So, when you're landing this drone, it tends to do some some interesting things, and I'll talk about that. So I'll quickly just show you guys on my Xeno optical sensors, infrared sensors. This is a drone that I would fly inside if I have to, or if I wanted to. It's a little bit easier to land because of those sensors. The Blackhawk does not have any sensors, so what will happen is when you're landing, it tends to come down and skip around sometimes and then finally land. So a quick tip for you guys on how to do that, on how to deal with that. Okay, number one, understand that you don't want to come from way up 50 feet in the air, 100 feet in the air, or meters, or however you are. I'm in the imperial world, so I use feet. And you want to come down, you don't want to come down and just land straight. It's going to skip around when you do that. My advice, when you come down, come down to about a foot off the ground and let it hover there for a second, and then hit the joystick down, obviously, and let it land. In my opinion, it does still skip around a little bit. I've had that happen. So my advice to you is two things. Number one, this button on the controller right here, take off and land. Okay, use it to take off, use it to land. You come down about a foot off the ground, and then you hit this button, and the drone just kind of just floats down straight and just lands. It works every time for me. So landing now, you know, you got to get a little creative, because you do gotta well, I'll talk about that in a second. When you hit this button, you have to acknowledge the OK on the screen. You'll get a message on the screen, and you hit OK, telling it, you know, are you sure you want to land, and then it'll land. Don't do that from way 50 feet in the air, guys. Bring your drone down to about 1 or 2 feet off the ground, then hit this button. That's what it's designed for, and let it land on its own. It'll work more free, you know, a little bit better for you. For me, this is what I like to do. I like to catch land, and what I mean by catch land is I like to catch my drone in my hand to land it. I don't always have my landing pad with me, or my takeoff pad, whatever we call them now, and I don't always have a nice place to land. I don't like to land in the grass and mow the grass. I don't like to land in rocks and dirt where things can get up in here and into the battery or into the drone or into especially the gimbal when I have the cover off, right? You're flying. Dust is the enemy here, so I don't want all that stuff to get on there. So I will catch land. For me, works every time. The easiest thing to do is I bring my drone down to about maybe 3 feet above me. When I get ready to land, I hit this landing button. I hit OK on the screen, and I put my hand right underneath it, and it just comes down, and I catch land it. And once I hold it for about 1 second, the motor's shut off. Works beautifully. As far as performance, very, very, very impressed with this drone and the footage. I'll try and stitch together some videos that I took today and some pictures from my Blackhawk today at the end of this video. But performance is great. Plenty of speed for me. Plenty of you know, maneuverability. I love the way this thing yaws around. I did slow down my yaw control as well. I'm a big fan of slowing down flight controls. Not all drones allow you to do that. I was very happy to know that this one would, because I want that slow, nice cinematic footage. When I need to pop it, you know, when I need to fly faster, I'll pop it in sports mode, and I'll get from one place to the other when I'm trying to take footage of something. But for the most part, I want to fly slow. That's just me. I don't want to fly fast. I didn't buy these drones or any of my drones to race or to fly fast. I bought them for the footage and the pictures, and the slower the better for me. Haven't had any problems thus far, and that's been the kicker for me. So a couple of other tips that I want to just talk about and differences. I'm not sure how the Hubsan version of this drone does it, but I actually bought ND filters for this drone. So ND filters, they go right over the camera. That's kind of hard to see, I guess. But in this package, I got an ND4, an 8, a 16, and a 32. And what's cool about the ones I got from EXO is that it comes with this little, in this little container, right? I took this little cap off the container, and there's like this little mounting tool, I guess, right? So my ND filter kind of suctions on there, and then I put it right into the camera, it's a perfect fit right in the camera. You see their shape just like the camera lens. And then you use the other end to kind of just push it in place. And the difference is, I think on some of the other filters available out there, you have to put some sticky stuff on your camera and then the filter on there. These filters already have like the little sticky stuff built into them, and it's not actually sticky. It's like a, I don't know, it's like a silicone. And as long as you don't get dust on it, you can reuse them. So I use this little tool to pop it on there and then push it in place, and then when I want to take it off, this is like a little suction cup and they pop right off. So very, very convenient. Kudos to EXO. Again, I don't know if Hubsan does it the same way, but kudos to EXO for having that design and doing it that way. That's pretty cool. Another quick tip that I want to give you guys about well, really just drone related, is you'll notice I have some labels on my drone, right? I've got my FAA registration number on there because this is a drone that does weigh over 250, so you do have to register it. And then on the other side, I've got a if found call, and it's got my phone number on there, reward. So a tip for you guys, okay? I went on Amazon, and I'll actually look this up real quick for you guys. I'll tell you guys what exactly it's called because I just ordered some more of these. So if you go on Amazon, let's see, I'll tell you what, guys, what the seller is. The seller is Drone ID Services, and what they do is they will send you a couple different things, and it's only about $13, which I thought was really, really cool. First thing they send you, and you buy this all together, is they send you an ID card, right? So if you're FAA registered, they'll send you a nice plastic credit card looking ID card, and it'll have your name, your information, your certificate number, your expiration date, all that you fill out, once you register your drone. And in addition to that, you get these labels, and you can get them in clear, black and white, all different colors. But you get one if you want to put it on. It says if found, go to Drone Zone and put in a reward. But the more interesting thing is you get one that has your FAA registration number on it. And then you get one that has, if found, please call. And obviously, it's got your, I know it's hard to see, your phone number. So you get 2 stickers of each one. So 2 stickers with your phone number, 2 stickers with your FAA ID, and 2 that say, if found, go to reclaimdrone.com. Reward. I didn't choose to put that on, but this is kind of cool to have. And then you can either get them in the big version, right, like my Blackhawk has. I got the bigger sticker on there, right? Or if you want, like on my Mini, and I've also put this on my Xeno drone, on my Hubsan drone, you can get a small one, little tiny one. So the difference you can see is quite significant, right? The small label, I know it's kind of hard to see, versus the big label. So it's up to you. Just a quick tip on that. If you want to go ahead and buy labels for your drone, $13 on Amazon, you put them on there, you get a nice little ID card, and it's pretty cool. The other thing that they also offer, which I think was pretty cool, is you can elect for like $1 more to get battery labels. So you notice I got, battery 1, battery 2. You can get up to 3 battery labels or 4 battery labels, and it's like another 95 cents. So, in closing, since this is about the Blackhawk, and I'm sorry I had to kind of run on here, went a little long. I love this thing. It's a great drone. Buy from EXO, and the reason why I say that is because their support is great. I belong to their Facebook community. I post videos as much as I can, and I go on there and I help users that might be having problems with calibrations. If you need any help with calibration, find me on Facebook in the EXO owners group. I'm happy to help. There's a large community of people there that are always giving advice. I post a couple videos on there about some advice that I like to give for any drone owner regarding calibration and how to fly and slowing down flight controls and that kind of thing. But again, the difference is, to me, who are you going to call if you have a problem with the Hubsan version of this drone? You go on their EXO chat, and they're great. They've always been great to me, and I know a number of other folks that have gotten help as well. Nothing's perfect. Right now it's a busy time of the year for any company, especially EXO. And you have to consider that the drone interest in the last couple of years has grown tremendously. More and more people are buying drones. So it's a fun hobby that we have as consumers. And as the interest has grown, so have the sales and warehouses being busy. So right now I have a battery on the way to me for my Cinemaster 2. I have my actual Cinemaster 2 that's on the way to me. I really don't expect to get it before Christmas because I know they're very busy. Hopefully I do. I know there's quite a bit of time left there, but I'll keep my fingers crossed. But I'm a pretty patient person. I have my Mavic Mini, I have my Blackhawk now, I have my Xeno. So I bought a Cinemaster 2 just because I wanted another cool drone from EXO, and I want to do a review on that one as well. So I'm a pretty patient person. So if you're out there and you've ordered a drone from EXO and it hasn't come, just be a little patient. They're trying their best. They're a company that is their sales has probably exceeded, or their demand, I should say, has probably exceeded what they can output in a day right now. And good problem to have as a company. And I know that's frustrating for some consumers, but give them an opportunity. And if you have any issues, any problems, reach out to them, because they do 100% try to make things right. I know a number of situations where they've done that for myself as well as for other consumers. So again, give them a chance and you won't be disappointed. As far as in closing for me, Blackhawk, great drone, love it. I'm gonna post some footage and some pictures that I took today, because today's really the first day in the last week since I've owned it that I really got to fly it a little bit for an extended period of time, couple batteries worth. Every other day I've done short flights here and there around the neighborhood. Today I went to a pier. It was way too windy at the pier. I'm one of those people that does not fly in wind. This thing can handle some wind, but I'm a very safe person when it comes to drone flying. And when you're gonna fly off a pier, I was gonna fly out over the water. I need to do that on a calm day, just so that I don't have any any situations to deal with where I get caught in a crosswind or something. Protecting my investment, if you will. But today I got to fly at a park. It wasn't as windy, and the footage isn't great. I'll include it here. I live in upstate New York. There's a little bit of snow on the ground, and trees are dead, so it's not very fall-like anymore, because we're just getting into the dead of winter. But I'll include that so you guys can see some of that footage in those pictures. And really, just in closing, again, shout out to EXO. Great drone, love it. It flies really well and suits my needs. All the intelligent flight modes are really cool on it. So if you're on the fence, pull the trigger. It's great. Can't really say too much about it that's negative. That would be any different from any other drone. They're gonna do weird things sometimes, so you really got to be careful about your calibrations. You got to be careful about where you fly, and you got to really learn to control your drone. Slow down your flight controls if you can, and work on steady, smooth movements. When you're jerky with it, that's when you're gonna run into problems. And you know what? I almost forgot one thing. One thing that I apologize, guys, that I really wanted to cover for this drone, as well as my Ranger does this as well. And I would anticipate there's other drones out there. If you're going to fly this thing in manual mode, if you're going to fly any drone in manual mode, and you're going to take off manually as opposed to using the auto takeoff, I'm going to give you guys a tip that's very, very easy to understand, but a lot of people make this mistake. When you put this thing in manual, typically you turn your joysticks inward and your motors will start spinning. This is how most drones work. And then obviously to start flying, you hit your left joystick in the up and the drone will rise. Well, what happens is, if you're a new flyer, you start to hear those motors wind up and you might get a little nervous. And what happens is, when you fly manual and you hit joystick up and you hear those motors start to get faster and the thing starts rising, a lot of people get nervous and they let off the stick. And what happens is your drone does this. your drone will flip this way. Sometimes it'll flip over, sometimes it'll flip the other way, but the drone, you know, there's propellers in here and they're oriented in a separate, you know, in different ways to control different movements. That's how these things fly. So if you're going to fly manual and not use the auto takeoff, when you go up on the left stick, just go up. Don't slow down. Don't stop halfway through, because your drone will do this, or it'll skip around, and if it turns over, it might damage propellers and scratch up your drone, your nice, you know, new drone, and you might get angry at that. You know, I had that happen to me before, and what I learned was, if you're gonna fly manually, up on the stick, full blast, let it rise. Once you're about 3 feet in the air, you can let off on it and it should hover. Otherwise, use the auto takeoff. That's what it's designed to do. When you don't do that and you get nervous and you let off the stick, the drone's going to turn sideways and it might flip over on you, damage the drone, or damage your ego, if you will. So full on the stick, let it rise and let off on it. Now, one thing that I'll say, at least about the Blackhawk, be very, very careful. This thing rises fast. If you're in manual mode and you hit up to take this thing off, it will take off on you very, very quickly. So, you know, be careful with that. Try the auto takeoff a couple times. Slow down your flight controls. Get it to a point where you're comfortable, and you know, just practice. Practice your movements, your takeoff, your land. Practice catch landing if you want, if that's your thing, and you'll have a lot of fun with this thing. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll post this on the EXO page on Facebook as well. And obviously, if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment on that. If you haven't joined the EXO owners page on Facebook, you should. It's a great community of people that are posting footage and are posting videos. It's managed by a really cool admin. He jumps in comments, and he flies drones as well. He posts some footage as well. And then there's also a member of EXO, of you know, the actual EXO company, that goes in there and comments, and him and I have talked a few times, and it's great. It's a great place, resource for information, a great resource to share and post videos, and I hope to really see you guys there. Sorry that this was a long-winded video, but there's not a lot of information out there on the Blackhawk and not a lot of tips, so I wanted to provide my findings on it, and I'll continue to do that. I plan on doing another video on the Cinemaster 2 when it arrives, and you know, other than that, happy flying, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the air. Thank you.